Hello there, this is Jessica from the Accent Channel, and today we're going to talk about some of the most effective ways to practice if you want to improve your speech or your accent. So, doesn't matter what anyone tells you, you are not going to improve your accent by watching a few YouTube videos. Now, I know a lot of you are watching this on YouTube, and my videos are no exception. Watching the video is not going to improve your speech. Improving your accent takes more than just watching practice videos. Here's what you need to do. You need to identify your problem sounds and concepts, and then you need to practice the right way. So sitting and imitating lists of words and imitating common words with videos, not going to get you there. You need to learn to practice the right way, and that's what we're going to talk about in this lesson. What is the right way to practice? Well, the right way to practice to improve your speech permanently is to focus on one sound or concept at a time. Okay, what does that mean? Speech improvement happens more quickly when you let your brain focus on one thing at a time. You can only handle so much change. You can't change everything about your speech in one day. But if you focus on one specific sound or concept that is a problem for you, your brain can handle that. And that change will happen quickly and it will be permanent. So if you focus on the specific sounds and concepts that are giving you an accent, you'll change your speech much more quickly than just memorizing and repeating lists of common words. So if you don't know which sounds or concepts are giving you an accent or what you need to work on to improve, you may want to consider getting help from a speech expert or an accent expert or a friend who's a fluent speaker, someone who can listen to you, identify your problems, and provide specific corrections and feedback. Okay, so how much practice is required to improve an accent? It honestly can be done with daily practice, 10 to 15 minutes. That's it. But it has to be every day. It's not going to help you to practice for 2 hours on a Saturday afternoon because you have some time. You're going to get much more effective and fast change by practicing 10 to 15 minutes every single day. So right now I'm going to give you some tips for the most effective daily speech practice. Now remember, we're focusing on one sound or concept at a time. No more than that. Our brain can only handle so much change. So once you've identified the sound or concept that you're working on, here's what you need to do in a typical day to make the improvement permanent. Listening practice. You want to notice the target sound or concept while watching TV or a movie and write down phrases that contain the target sound. So by identifying the improvement that you're trying to make in other speakers, you're allowing yourself to trust it. You're also training your ear to hear it so that you can self-correct when you're speaking. So finding that sound in other speakers is a great way to practice. You also can listen for your target sound or concept in other speakers during a conversation. So when you're talking to other people, notice what they're doing. And by hearing it and picking it out in their speech, again, you're training your ear to improve yourself. Reading out loud. Now, reading out loud is not as good as repetition practice or conversational practice, which we will talk about in a moment, but it doesn't hurt. Reading out loud allows you to focus on your target sound or concept, and it's a little easier because you can see what's coming up. It's not spontaneous. Reading out loud is also a very convenient way to practice. You can do it anywhere. So you can read online articles, you can read your emails out loud, you can read texts out loud, or you can read books out loud. Remember when you're reading to continue to focus on one sound or concept. Reading to a child is great practice. You can go slowly, you can exaggerate the rhythm and connection and the sounds that you're working on. And children, if you're reading out loud to a child will often point out your mistakes. Children love to tell you that you've done something wrong and correct you on it. Sometimes they can be your best teachers. So reading out loud to a child is a great way to practice your speech. and it's great for your kids. Now we get to repetition practice. Repetition practice is the best and most important way to practice your speech. Repetition practice should target each sound that you're working on, remember, one sound at a time, in all possible contexts. So you want to work on your sound at the beginnings of words, in the middle of words, and at the ends of words. You want to work on that sound between vowels, before consonants, in different places of a sentence. So make sure that you're practicing all possible contexts when you're doing your listen and repeat. Your practice should also target the most common words and phrases in English, because why practice words and phrases that you'll never use in a real life conversation? Spend your practice time practicing words and phrases that you use. So sometimes it's hard to find really good repetition practice. All the practice lessons in our online courses are designed to do all of this for you, to get all the sounds that you need in all the possible contexts and in the most common words in English. So if you're looking for great repetition practice, for the best repetition practice, log into one of our courses and practice. Another great way to practice is conversational practice. Practice the sound that you're working on anytime you're speaking English. Do whatever you need to do to remind yourself to think about the target sound. You can monitor the target sound and self-correct. Self-correct means stop yourself and start over, making the correction so that your brain remembers the correction that you've made, not the mistake. This also helps to change your speech habits. But you can do this anytime you're speaking, when you're talking on the phone, when you're having a conversation at work, when you're having a conversation with family or friends. You can't think about everything, but I promise you, you can monitor one sound or concept. Do your best to do it correctly. If you hear that you've made a mistake, stop, start over, make the correction. The more you do that, the more you will retrain your current habits with the new, improved, hopefully, speech habit. One of the very best things you can do to improve your speech or improve your accent is to record yourself. You will hear things in a recording that you had no idea that you were doing. The trick is, when you're listening, to listen specifically. So record yourself during a conversation, your end of a phone conversation, or even one in person, assuming you've gotten permission from the other person. Listen for the mistakes with the sound that you're working on, your target sound or concept. Write down all the mistakes you've made. Write down the entire phrase, and then you can practice the mistakes that you've made in your conversations. You really can't get more effective than that. Fixing the mistakes that you've actually made in a real conversation, that's going to improve your speech permanently and make the change automatic. So get into the habit of recording yourself, listening, correcting, and then using those corrections for your improvement. Recording yourself can also help you document your progress. In your recordings, you'll hear the sound or concept that you're working on. When you don't hear any mistakes with that sound or concept, you know you're ready for something new. You're done. When you don't make any mistakes, you have completed your goal. So to recap today's lesson, the most effective way to practice is to identify your problem sounds or concepts. Focus on those sounds or concepts. Focus on them one at a time. Then practice the right way. So that's what you need to know about practicing. Using these strategies will help you improve your speech, make your new speech habits, your new speech skills automatic and permanent. You can do this. Learning a new accent or improving pronunciation is much easier than learning a new language. It just takes a really focused approach and daily practice to make it permanent. Thanks for watching, and please let me know if you have any questions. I will see you in the next lesson.